What is going on, guys? This is Brett from the Bills, Go Bills podcast. It's been a while, I know, right?
Yeah.
Back for another episode with two of my buddies. I got Shawn Kula from the Red, White, and Bills, and Tony from Bills Bouncer. And today we're going to talk about the free agency options for the Bills at cornerback, uh, offensive line, defensive line, and quarterback. So without further ado, I'm going to let Shawn introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. It's good to see you again. Red, White, and Bills. We were hoping to try to get on here every week, but one of us always has something going on. But we're here. We're going to keep bringing you good content. It's been slow in the offseason, of course, and, there's only so much free agency and draft you can talk about. But draft's coming for us because, it's getting close. It's combine time, so there's a lot to talk about. But I'm just excited to be on here again. Thanks, Brett, for having me on.
You're welcome. Glad to have you back. I know it kind of sucked. Long story short, I ended up being in the hospital last week. I went to Daytona and ended up getting dehydrated at the Daytona 500, and that's why we missed last week. But we're back for another episode, and I'm feeling a lot better. So, Tony,
That's all we can be grateful for.
Tony, go ahead.
Awesome. How's it going, guys? Glad to be back. Bill's Bouncer here. I'm excited for this. Excited to keep doing more videos. Shawn, you said this part of the off season is like the slow one. This is my jam, man. Right here.
I know.
Like,
yeah.
Free agency, the draft, man. I'm working on all of my draft boards and stuff like that. I just finished my third top 100 draft board and stuff like that, and I'm living this up, man. I'm watching every second of the combine. It's awesome. Oh, maybe it's I'm a little obsessed, maybe, but it's fun. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here. Get it done again. Talk about Bills free agent options. I'll be doing the offensive line mainly today, so not the sexy ones, the big and uglies, but hey, that's what we got to do. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Shawn's going to do defensive line. Tony's going to do offensive line. I'm going to do cornerbacks, and we're going to split it up. We have one quarterback. This was by request that somebody mentioned that they wanted us to do quarterback, so we're going to add quarterback in there as well. But first off, we're going to talk about a couple of things that have happened since we've been away. We've had a couple of new signings by the Bills or coaching staff. Aaron Comer came back to Buffalo after being with the Rams. Another update that we have is Joe Brady is coming to be the quarterback's coach. We lost our assistant GM, Joe Shawn, to the New York Giants. Another thing that happened was St. John Fisher. We just got another update from them. We are going to have training camp back at St. John Fisher after 2 years being at One Bills Drive, coming back for another year. And the last update we have is Cole Beasley has announced that he is requesting a trade from the Bills. Doesn't mean that it's the end of the road for him in Buffalo, but looks like we might be trading him somewhere. We'll see what options he has there. But how do you guys feel about some of the coaching staff changes that are happening with the Bills? Start with Tony.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. Getting Ken Dorsey, keeping it in-house for the offensive coordinator, I think is huge, especially for Josh Allen. I know he was thinking about going to the Giants, but keeping him around, I think that's going to be awesome for us, keeping that in-house because, Sean McDermott loves to keep his guys. That continuity within the coaching staff. It's going to be so awesome. And then obviously, the rest of the coaching staff too. It's I think we've done a pretty solid job so far in retaining guys and getting quality coaches at the next level as well. So I'm really excited about that one so far. Cole Beasley trade, I feel like we kind of expected it at least to something to happen with him because of all like the vaccine issues and stuff like that. It wasn't necessarily good for the team, but yeah, having him request a trade, I'll honestly say I was a little surprised. How much he's worth necessarily, that's the question for me. Because obviously Cole Beasley is one of the best to ever do it at the slot position, in my opinion. But he's getting up there in age, and he really showed a Like, he really slowed down last year. And so we'll see. Maybe, if we can get a 5th round pick for him or a 4th round pick for him, something like that. Like, I'm all for it, especially if we keep Kenzie, or get somebody in the draft who can take his spot. I've been doing my deep dive into the receiver core this last week, and there's this. Oh man, this draft is so stacked for receivers. Buffalo needs to get one in the top 100, man. But there's so many. It's going to be so awesome. So if we can replace him in the draft, maybe free agency, like, yeah, totally. Or if McKenzie can step up, then yeah. But hopefully we can get some good value for his trade, because he is a really good quarterback. He is a really good receiver, and to have him, I know a lot of teams could want to have him as, like, with a young receiver, like one of the quarterbacks who get drafted in this draft class or something like that. A team could want him to really be that safety valve for a young quarterback. I think that'd be really good, which is basically what he was for Josh Allen in the beginning. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that it would be a good thing to see what the value is for Cole Beasley. I know that his salary is pretty high for us. We released him. We were going to have $6.1 million in cap space. But, to see where we can go with him, maybe we can find a trade partner and he ends up going to a team that he wants to go to, while we also, get some value for him, because he has been an asset for the Bills. He had a little bit of a down year this year with the 690 something yards this year, 1 touchdown, which kind of sucks, but still staying on the same catches that he had last year. That's a good thing. But Shawn, how do you feel about Cole Beasley?
It stinks because the production he, even at his old age, with receptions and just being that guy who kind of gets overlooked sometimes because there's so many other good players out there for us. He can get like the 13 catches in a game and then just keep moving the sticks for you. And I really like Cole Beasley. I always did. And just to hear one of the players that you like just wants to leave, it kind of stinks also, because we love all of our players. But I do see a lot of people out there. I know I like McKenzie as well, and I think he's a great player. But a lot of people were just like, "Oh, good riddance, we have McKenzie." But McKenzie has never even in his whole career hasn't equaled 1 season of Cole Beasley. Stat wise, but McKenzie does bring a lot of energy and speed, and he could do the end arounds and the jet sweeps and catch. We've seen it, but maybe given the opportunity, McKenzie can step up and have more of a role. But to just act like Cole Beasley didn't do anything for the Bills, some of the fans are just kind of like a little frustrating, because he was such a great asset to our team. But like Tony said, if we can get basically if you get anything for him, because better than releasing him, at least you're getting something out of it. So whether it's a 4th or a 5th, and you can use that pick that you get for the trade to someone else to get Saquon. You could trade a late round pick and Zach Moss for Saquon, or a late round pick and Matt Breida, not Matt Breida because he's a free agent, but you know what I'm saying, just a player and a pick for Saquon Barkley or something. You can use that ammo for it. And even Calvin Ridley's out there wanting to trade. So there's a lot of people out there, Gronk too. We could talk about getting Gronk, but yeah, thanks Cole Beasley for everything. He's probably going to go. Once you want to get a trade, it's basically saying sayonara, in my opinion, because he's basically voicing that he wants to take another different direction in his career. But, I'll miss him, but can't thank him enough for what he did. And I hope he knows that we weren't actually booing him at the games, because I was at the game that we were, it was very loud. I saw the highlights of the game, the Houston game the other day. And I had to tag my wife in it because we went to that one. I said, "Look, listen to how loud we were," because you could hear it in the highlights, like from the TV. I said, "I never heard a louder game," but definitely wasn't booed. So don't think we were booing you, Cole, even though you're not watching. But to talk about the Fisher thing, I'm super excited about that, because Rochester's only 2.5 hours away from here. So I'm gonna go there with my flag here, and hopefully I can maybe tackle some people to get to Josh Allen. Because that'd be the cheapest Josh Allen autograph in the world, because you got to pay probably buku bucks just to find him anywhere now. But if you can get to Rochester and you can beat that line and then get to him, because I remember I went to the Giants one like 12 years ago, or maybe like 10, but the Eli Manning line was just completely it was impossible to get to. So I ended up getting my football signed by Mark Herzlich, the linebacker from Boston College that had bone cancer. And that's a cool football, but if I can get that Josh Allen signature in Rochester, woo,
Hey, man, maybe if you shave the beard, you can get in the kids line and like cut the
Oh,
line
yeah.
and get into Josh Allen. Like, yeah.
Or I can just bring a kid and be like, hey, go bring that to him.
Yeah, just go bring it to him. I need
Pay
the
a kid $100 to. But yeah, I think as far as the coaching goes, change is always good. And also what Tony said, keeping things in house. It's just like a normal company. You want to give people that deserve the opportunity a chance to accept or decline the offer. And then, if Ken Dorsey didn't want it, then you go maybe look outside. But I think, Josh Allen's comfortable with him and he's been around for a bit and knows our system. And who knows, he might, as good as Dayball was, at times, maybe Ken Dorsey's got something up his sleeves that Dayball didn't think of. Maybe he can get the run game working with the pass game and then not be so one-sided most games. And that's all stuff that we have to see. He could be bad. We don't know, but just the fact that, it just sounds so good, and he's got ability to be a good coach. So I'm excited for all the coaching moves, and getting Cromer back. I think that's huge too, especially coming from the Rams, where championship caliber team, and is a solid coach. So I'm pretty excited, man. I just can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, getting Cromer back, that's a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't think that he was going to come back, especially after the off the field stuff that was happening with him. But it looks like he straightened it out. He got in a little bit of an argument. I don't know. I can't remember if punches were thrown or what, but something happened off the field, and he, I guess, got released by the Bills, and then ended up bouncing around the league a little bit, and now he's back, and I'm glad he's back because the Bills had an amazing offense with him. The offensive line was doing great. We had Richie Incognito and Deion Dawkins running the ball for us. We had one of the top 10 rushing attacks in the league, so this is going to be a really good thing for us. I really like that. I think it's a sleeper pick by Sean McDermott, and hopefully we can get the interior offensive line fixed. Tony is going to talk about that, so I'm really looking forward to that. But that's the one thing I think. So without further ado, let's get this started, guys, and talk about the free agents that you guys would like to pick up. I know that we talked last time about all the free agents that Buffalo had, and we really were saying who we should sign, who we should not sign. So let's go into some of the guys that you would like to see outside of the Bills coming into Buffalo, and you think that would be a good asset for us. So let's start with the offensive line, Tony.
Cool. Yeah. So essentially, so I chose the offensive line because it is a little more, in my opinion, there's no like glaring hole when it comes down to it. Like, yes, we just need to improve on it. I would say it's a secondary need. I think it's less than, receiver, cornerback, and like interior D line, but it's still a need. And I think this is something that is a big possibility that we address mainly in free agency. There's a couple guys in the later round of the draft that I'm high on. Maybe Cole Strange from Chattanooga is one of them. He could go in the 5th round. I think he'd be really good for us at that guard position. But looking at NFL free agents right here, so players who, we have a couple cut candidates. We have Ike Bottker and Ryan Bates, who are both free agents. I expect both of them to be back, which would be very helpful. Like I said, continuity of keeping the guys around. I think I'd be very surprised if they didn't return. But, who knows? And then some cut candidates, definitely Feliciano or Ford. Sorry, Shawn, I know you love Ford. But I feel like one of them, because I don't know the exact number right off the top of my head, but I know both of them have a pretty big, we could save a lot of money if we cut them. So I'd be very surprised if one of them, if not both of them, didn't go. So that leaves a hole at the interior defensive line, at the interior offensive line. As that like swing guard, backup, like 4th guard area or 3rd guard area. And so I have a couple guys here that I think the Bills really could go after. First one, this guy could be a rotational starter, maybe. He's getting up there in age. It's Mike, how do you pronounce it? Golinsky? Mike Golinsky. He's an offensive guy. He's a right guard from the Colts. He's 30 years old. This guy would be a little more expensive. I'd be surprised if the Bills brought him in. Last year he had a $5.5 million salary and then a $4 million guarantee. So he is a little more expensive for the Bills salary cap right now. But if we could bring him in, he played 75.9% of the snaps for the Colts last year, and we know the Colts have an amazing rushing attack. And so getting him in there as the rotational piece, he's getting up there in age. I think he could be really good for us as a rotational player. And maybe if we do get like an interior offensive line in the draft, like being a guy who can be a mentor for those future guys, and maybe help out Cody Ford if we keep him. So yeah. Number 2 is a guy, he's a little younger, Trey Turner from the Steelers. He could be a rotational right guard. I know a lot of people, PFF had him, I was doing some research on him earlier. PFF had him as ranked as like the 97th offensive guard or something like that, which like obviously that's pretty low. But he could be, I think he has a lot of upside. And he would be pretty cheap. As like I said, as a younger player and stuff like that. He played 92% of the Steelers snaps, so he has that background, he has that experience. I think he could come in and play really, really well. He's only 27 years old. Like I said, his salary was less than $2 million last year. So he could come in, be that rotational piece, maybe switch off with Darrell Williams if we keep him as well for that right guard spot. Yeah, so I think he would be a really good one for us to target. Another one, so this one would be, I had backup center is I also think a need. We know Ryan Bates can basically play everywhere, but if we wanted to just get a solid backup center, Mitch Morris he's getting up there in age. He's had one more concussion and he's done. So if we need someone to be a reliable backup center, Brian Allen, the center from the Rams, I think would be a really, really good piece to our team as that rotational or backup center. Let's see. He did play 82% of their snaps last year, and he won a Super Bowl. So we got that, and we know like we brought Sanders in last year and stuff like that. Like we want guys, especially on the offense, who like they have experience, they have like knowledge of the game, they played in the big games, and they don't choke. And I think Brian Allen would be a really, really good piece to that. And he is a little more on the expensive side as well. I would be very surprised if we got him just simply because of that. But if Brendan Bean is an absolute wizard at creating cap space. I was listening to a podcast the other day that it was talking about how the possibility if we could get up to $30 million in cap space just by reconstructing and cutting a couple of those offensive line guys and just reconstructing some of the contracts in there and getting some extensions and stuff like that. We could get Brian Allen in there as that backup / rotational centerpiece or guard piece. I think it'd be really cool. And then I have the man who I want to come back to Buffalo. The Quentin Spain. Love him. I was so sad when he left last year. I know he
I would love that.
Greatest year. Like we all know Cincinnati had an awful offensive line, and Quentin Spain was not the best offensive line. And but he could come in at that left guard position. We know he played like tremendous for us. I was very, very sad when he left a couple years ago, but bringing back that guy, we know that Sean McDermott liked him back in the day, and he talked about how sad he was to leave. He's great. He's got a great locker room presence and stuff like that. He's like that strong, quiet leader. So I think he would be an absolute like treasure to get, and he wouldn't be that expensive either. He signed in Cincinnati for about like a $2 million veteran minimum deal almost.
Yeah.
And so bringing him back, and yes, he did play 90% of Cincinnati snaps, started every single game for him. And yeah, I think he would be an awesome rotational piece or awesome starting piece for that spot if we brought him back. And come on, it's Quentin Spain, man. He's just a mauler. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, those are the 4 guys I have. Yeah, what do you think?
Even with let me just say this quick, Brett.
Yeah,
even with us, when Spain signed his contract, he literally said, "I'll take less money just to play in Buffalo." So he signed. He could have got, what was it? I think I'm trying to remember 2 years ago.
3
But
years,
his
15
value
million.
on the market was like $10 to $13 million a year, and he took it for $6 million a year for us. And then they screwed him over basically, and they benched him for no reason, and he didn't like it. And then he had the right to say I wasn't happy about it, and they said, oh well, we don't want that, and then released him, and it was really stupid because him and Dawkins next to each other was basically a brick wall. But go ahead, Brad. I know you were going to say something.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I think the biggest thing was, when we re-signed Quentin Spain, we had all intentions of putting him at left guard, and then you bring in Brian Winters, and the expectation was Brian Winters is going to be the left guard. You're going to have Quentin Spain be the backup. We're going to see what John Feliciano does at right guard. He's the right guard, so we'll see how that works. But Quentin Spain was signed for $5 million a year, and he's supposed to be the starter. So you bring in Brian Winters for I think it was like $2 or $3 million. It wasn't that much, but you bring him in, and he's supposed to be the backup, and then all of a sudden we want to start Brian Winters and have a rotational with Cody Ford in there as well, which was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I don't know why we ever did that, but then he gets pissed off, which I understand. I would be upset if I'm getting paid $5 million a year to sit on the bench, and I think that I'm a starter. I'd want to go somewhere else and get back to myself. So I think he needed the refresher, get back where he wanted to be, and then
think about it this way: you get promoted at work, and then they're like, "Yeah, Brett, well, we're going to have the guy that's 3 positions under you take over for you today because we just don't feel like having you do anything." It's just, I don't know. I would have been mad too. I would have definitely made my voice heard. It was kind of, weak for whoever wanted to release him. I don't know if it was Brandon Bean, and I know they all liked him, but just to release him over him being upset that you benched him, which was stupid on their part as well, because you're paying this guy all this money to sit on the bench, like Brett said. What's the point of that? Winters was terrible. He stunk. Why you'd even take an offensive lineman from the Jets anyway is beyond me. And so, that was just a frustrating year. And then, I just, like you said, I wish we could have him back because he's got that attitude, the Mr. Undrafted Twitter handle, and, he's always got some pride to him. And, he did give up the last sack in the Super Bowl, but with us, he didn't give up a sack in 2 years. So,
right.
Have that guy back at left guard. I would get rid of Darrell Williams. I get rid of Feliciano both. I get rid of Ford just to get him back, and just as much as I have high hopes for Ford, I'll get rid of all 3 of those guys just to create money, get Spain back, and then get someone else at right guard, or draft someone, of course.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with having a Quentin Spain versus Feliciano or Cody Ford is with this Aaron Kromer system, we need a pull guard. That's the biggest thing that we had with him. We had Richie Incognito, who was one of the best ever to do that, in my opinion. He sets the run. You have Shady, who was dancing out wide, cut on a dime type of running back, and you set the edge with Richie Incognito. That's the best way to do it. So I think that getting a Quentin Spain in there who is a pull guard is going to be the best thing. I think that we're going to see a totally different offensive line. We're going to be more aggressive this year. It's going to be, a lot better and a lot more bigger runs by Singletary.
Or Saquon.
I'm just saying, as far as Richie Incognito is concerned, he still plays. He plays for the Raiders.
He does.
Technically speaking, but he will be 40 by the time he's a free agent this year. He'll be 40.
He's really going to be 40?
Sure yeah, he'll be 40 years old.
Well,
bring him back.
Andrew Whitworth was 40, and he was still a top tier tackle, I guess. So bring him in for a year for like $50, and then see what happens.
Bring him back in.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would too. I'm sure he'd love to come back just for last year and just to say, "Oh, screw it out. I'll play for the vet minimum, and then play some left or right guard, and let's get it going."
So yeah, who knows? Also, I misspoke. I gotta put some respect on Trey Turner's name, because I was looking at it. He is, they have him ranked as the 21st guard. PFF does, not the 100th guard. The 100th guard was actually Quentin Spain. So
really?
Go figure. But yeah. That's what it
surprising.
says here, but I don't know what you're doing, PFF. I'm not arguing.
Well, also, I mean, he probably went down in production if he's the only decent player on the offensive line, and then they just get blown up. Obviously, he's just going to be, because like they said about Dawkins, when you're worried about who's next to you, you can't focus on what's in front of you. So when he was with Spain, they both were just lights out because they knew, oh, Dawkins got his stuff, I got my stuff. But when Spain's like, oh, I'm the only one that can block, I got to block 15 people at once because the people next to me can't block. I mean, so I can see him being ranked 100, but I mean, he's not. I mean, for us, he was absolutely phenomenal. But
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was Sean McDermott who said a couple years ago. He said, "Your offensive line is only as good as your worst player." So that's like
that proves
when it comes to Cincinnati and stuff like that. Like Quinn Spain, he just wasn't. He couldn't play to the best of his ability. But put him in the Buffalo Bills offense and stuff like that. Which, granted, I'm very, very glad that a certain man named Bobby Hart is off the team now because
he'll come back.
We're as good as
he'll be back once we sign. Once the training camp starts.
I was about to say, is he only as good as Bobby Hart? So
well, I mean,
and if we bring Bobby Hart back, man, I'm pretty sure my heart's just gonna stop. Like
every time I saw it, I laughed. I was like, "Oh, we released him. Okay, next week, Bobby Hart's back. Oh, okay. This guy's probably tired of getting kicked off the team and then coming back and kicked off the team. Like, I mean, to be honest, if nobody picks him up before that, we're definitely going to bring him back for the training camp roster.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be on the practice squad again.
Yeah.
All right, John. Start with the defensive line now.
All right. This is one of my favorites.
Is anybody hearing like a clicking or something like that?
Yeah, I am.
Just a little.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Is it the microphone or no?
Somebody touching something?
No. Sounds like a static.
Hold on.
I think it's Shawn's.
Is it mine?
It's Shawn's. Because I heard it when it was off there.
The volume's only on 54.
It sounds like a bag of chips.
No, I hope my speaker didn't break on my laptop. Can you actually hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you better now. It's still good, but it's all good.
All right, I guess we'll try to ignore it.
Yeah, we'll ignore it. Hopefully the viewers don't mind it. So
here, hold on. Maybe take me out and I'll come right. Remove me, and then I'll come right back and I'll come right back in and talk.
All right, give me 1 second.
Yeah, there should be a remove button.
Yeah, I just clicked it.
There we go.
I still hear it though.
Yeah, Sam.
Just trying to see.
Do you hear it when I talk?
Yeah, I have my laptop. Wonder if it's mine. Is it mine?
Better.
Yeah. Well, I still hear it. I still hear it. Maybe it's mine. Is it mine?
Here, mute yours and.
I don't hear it now. Well, now I hear it.
Yeah, it's still there a little bit, yeah.
I was still muted. I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't know. Maybe it's everybody's.
Maybe it's everybody.
I love technology.
All right. Well, I'll just power through this as long as you can hear me.
That's good.
All right. So the first ones I already talked about him a few times with you guys. Akeem Hicks. He's just a big, huge, massive dude on the inside who's fast. He's got that nasty attitude to him, and that's what we need, really. I mean, we need someone to pair with that Oliver because, obviously, I want Harrison Phillips back, but we need someone that's got the same attitude as Ed. He's got this one of a kind attitude, and Akeem Hicks brings that juice to him. And, him, Harrison Phillips, Ed Oliver, possibly Jordan Davis coming to the Bills. You know what I mean? That'd be amazing. The next one, Calais Campbell. Again, a lot of these guys are probably really expensive, but I can see them fitting with the Bills. Campbell's another massive dude who could probably play D tackle and defensive end. I mean, he had kind of a slow year last year, only 1 sack, 24 stops, 31 pressures. But in a different, maybe in a change of scenery, he could get back to what he was in Jacksonville or even the year before in the Ravens. And it'd be really awesome to have a vet guy like him on our D line. Cincinnati Bengal, Larry Ogunjobi, ex-Brown. He had 8 sacks, 40 pressures, and 31 stops. And, like I said, pressure from the inside is just huge when it comes to sack numbers and pressure and negative plays. And we had from the inside, had a little bit of that, but Starr was out a few games. And, we need someone that's going to be consistently playing and can bring that, 8 sacks, from Ogunjobi. And then you get like 5 or 6 from Ed Oliver, maybe even more this year. Because Ed Oliver started to come into his own like I knew he would. And then, just like I said, just another baller along with Harrison Phillips and Ed Oliver. And again, possibly Jordan Davis. That's my dream. But next one, the final one, Everson Griffin from the Vikings. He had 5 sacks. And he had a 79 pass rush grade, which is basically viewed pretty high on the PFF scale. 1 forced fumble, 33 pressures. Just another guy that, he's quick, fast, got great hands, just eye for the quarterback and pretty good in the run as well. And, all these people would fit. But again, I think, they're all probably a little bit on the expensive side. And it all depends on if we, how much cap we can free up. But even just adding one of those guys would just bolster that. I really want Akeem Hicks, though. I think he's the guy that would completely change his defense. You're still muted, Brett.
Thanks for the reminder. I appreciate it. Still a learning process. But, I think that Akeem Hicks would be the one that would come into Buffalo and make a big change.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was on mute too. So you guys can. You still hear it?
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't know either, but yeah, that'd be pretty solid. That's like Tony says, this is a great time because there's so many possibilities. Like I put a crazy scenario in one of my friends' heads. I said, think about it. We could sign Gronkowski for like a $1 million deal, right? You could trade a first-round pick for DK Metcalf. You could trade Cole Beasley and another pick for Calvin Ridley, and you could trade for Saquon Barkley. Not obviously that's not all going to happen, but I said you can probably realistically do that.
Yeah,
and that'd be really. I mean,
technically,
because think about it. If Russ leaves Seattle, DK might want to be out of there.
Yeah, but the only problem is his salary is like $20 million this year.
No, that's true.
I mean, I don't know if we can afford the salary, especially with getting Gronk and getting everybody else.
Yeah. But also remember, people might want to take salary cuts to play with Josh Allen.
And you could get extensions by signing Stephon Diggs to a contract extension, making it front loaded with roster bonuses and stuff like that. While it also creates more cap now, you can use that cap later, for the roster bonuses. So we can lower his cap. He has like an $18.9 million cap hit. So I think that would be the best thing to do.
I mean, look at the Cowboys. They just up and released Amari Cooper.
They did.
Just did it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because my buddies are huge Cowboys fans, and my friend said literally 11 hours before he was cut, they were interviewing him, and he goes, "Oh, there's no place I'd rather be than Dallas. I'm from Dallas. I love being a Dallas Cowboy. Just the thought of being a Dallas Cowboy just like makes my heart warm. Like just saying all this stuff." And they're like, "Okay, see you later. We don't watch the other team anymore."
Watch him go to like Houston or something.
Yeah, but they saved like 16 mil for getting rid of him, but they still owe him 20 mil. So he had a $36 million left on his contract. They guaranteed him. He's guaranteed 20 mil, and they saved 16 to cut him. But still, I mean, he was your friend. Like, I don't know, is CD Lamb ready to be a wide receiver one? He's really good, but he's really good, obviously. But it's like how Gabe Davis is with Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis isn't ready to be a wide receiver one, but because Stephon Diggs is taking double teams and triple teams and taking the number one corner, he's able to get one-on-one situations and make great catches. And that's kind of how CD Lamb is. But is he ready to be double teamed and to take the number one corner everywhere?
And that means the Cowboys are probably going to be in the market for a new receiver in the draft or in free agency as well. So look out for that.
They could be a favorite for Calvin Ridley too.
DK Metcalf, maybe.
Yeah, or Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
He's a huge price tag, but I mean, if Rodgers is gone, he might not want to stay there either.
And he played with Mike McCarthy. That's a good thing. So.
But I do have to comment, Shawn, on the Jordan Davis take. I'm not.
I know.
I'm not a Jordan Davis fan, man. I don't know, bro. I think he has like. Did you watch him at the combine? That man's a freak. Like,
he had a 4.8, man.
That's insane.
341 pounds.
I don't run a 4.8. I'm 210. I don't run a 4.8. Like,
they were freaking out about Mekhi Becton. Remember when he ran a 5? Like, 340 pounds, he ran a 5. This dude ran a 4.8. Oh my gosh. How's your mouth not salivating after that?
I don't know, man. I think there's bigger needs on our team, and he's just like, he doesn't help at all in the pass game. But like, he's such a freak in the run game. But like, I don't know if that's worth a first-round pick, But
no, I hear you, man. People say like, oh, he's got like a motivation problem, and he's not that quick. Sometimes he burns out, but all that stuff that they said about him, like this is just random people on Twitter and stuff. All these random things that they're saying, those things are all fixable.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have a hard time believing he's not motivated. I mean, he wants to make it to the NFL, right? He wants to win a Super Bowl.
He did come out the other day in an interview before the championship game, and he said that he doesn't want to play on third downs and stuff like that. Like, he said, my job is to get to third down, not to play on third down, stuff like that. And so I was like, but yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, weird. But I mean, I get it in a way, but it'd be cool to have a huge guy like that be able to play third down too. But
get the next Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, so that's the thing, man. I mean, he has such a huge upside, but I get all your question marks, and I do. I mean, I just think I don't think he'll follow 25 anyway. But I think if he's there, you gotta take the chance. I mean, you could say you can even agree to this. The wide receiver and the cornerback market this year in the draft is huge. So I mean, if you get him in the first round, you got second and third round, fourth that you can get solid corners and receivers. We'll see. I mean, I doubt we'll get him anyway. But what was his name? There was a guy I wanted from Alabama so bad. He's on the Panthers now. I think his name's Deontay Brown from Alabama. He was a guard. He was like 500 pounds. I was like, oh, we have to get this dude. He's still on the board. And then we got Jake Fromm. I'm like, he's still on the board. Come on. And then we got Bass, obviously, but I like that pick. And then the Panthers picked him up in the 7th round. I was like, now he was on their practice squad all year because he got hurt, and they left him on the practice squad. And I was like, why can't we just pick him up because we need offensive linemen? This dude's huge. Just look him up online. He's just some massive dude. But
yeah. All right, we'll get back to it now. I saved the second best for last. I think the best for last is going to be the quarterback position because we have a couple of favorites that we have that might go to Buffalo, but we'll save the second best for last. I'm going to start with Shawn is a big fan of Levi Wallace, so he really wants us to re-sign him. I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. I think his market is going to be a little too high for us. but he was an undrafted free agent Buffalo picked up from Alabama. And, these are guys that I think could fill in the role of Levi that might be a little better in coverage. The first one I have is Sidney Jones, who was a 2017 first or second round pick by the Eagles. He fits the same size that Levi Wallace is. He's a 6'1", 186-pound guy. And he was just traded to Seattle last year and had more of a breakout year than we expected. 66 tackles but 0 interceptions. That's the only thing. So he kind of fits that Levi role. Not saying Levi doesn't get interceptions, but he fills the role of being a zone corner. He knows where to play in at the right times, and I think that he would be a really good fit for us. Another guy that I really like is his teammate DJ Reed, but I think he plays more of a slot corner position. He's a little undersized. It's 5'9", 193 pounds, but a 2018 fifth-round pick by the 49ers. But he was claimed off waivers by the Seahawks in 2020. He has a 55% catch rate, which I really like. I think that that's something that, we need to limit the catches. I think Levi kind of gave up a little bit in coverage, had a higher passer rating against, but hopefully we can find somebody that can compare to Trey White. Another guy that I really like is Mike Hughes, former first-round pick. I always like getting a first-round pick, somebody that knows what he's doing. Coming from the Vikings, he was first-round pick by them, traded to the Chiefs, playing on a championship team. That's the biggest thing for me that I like. Someone that's a playoff caliber, comes in, knows what to do. 5'10", 190 pounds. Catch rate was a little high, but the other thing that was really high was his passer rating. This is the highest I think I've seen in a while, 131.8. Perfect passer rating is 152. That really scares me, but a good depth piece and maybe somebody that can bring up a draft pick by us. Maybe we get an early draft pick and we just have him slide in for a year, play the cough Vontae Davis role that he was supposed to play, that $5 million, $6 million range. I'm kind of floating with that and trying to tweak it. Now, another guy that I really like, but I think is kind of out of the price range for us, is Rasul Douglas, 27-year-old who had a monster year this year, but just came off the practice squad of the Cardinals, and I really like him because he is big. He's 6'2", 209 pounds, physical corner, and he had the lowest passer rating, I think, by a corner this year at 44.2, which I really like. And he had as many touchdowns given up as touchdowns that he had. So he had 2 each, which really made me happy. And 5 interceptions, which is something that I know that Trey White before, like a couple of years ago, was saying, I'd really like to see 5 interceptions by each cornerback, each cornerback and safety. So maybe we can get the 5 interceptions for each guy. Trey White comes back, comeback player of the year. That's what make me happy. Get the 5 interceptions there. Get Micah 5, and maybe Jordan Poyer gets like 8 or 9 and becomes the defensive MVP. That would make me really happy. But I think his price range is going to be around like 10, 12 million. Does McDermott want to go with somebody that is going to make the 12 million, or does he want to go with somebody around the like $5-7 million range? That's going to be decided. But what do you guys think of these players? We'll start with Shawn.
Well, all those stats that you said about these guys was all beautiful things, and I hope we keep Levi, but corners. I always said corner is probably the second toughest position in the NFL to play. So when you can find a solid one, like the ones you mentioned, that's just an icing on the cake kind of thing, especially because, we talked about it before. Trey White's Trey White, but we don't know how he's going to be when he comes back because it's a tough injury, especially when as a corner, you're all this torque on your leg and twisting and turning and side shuffling. So he might need a few more games to come back, and he might be like when Saquon came back from his ACL injury, he had to sit out a lot of the plays. So he played a little bit, his knee got swelled up, takes him off, go back in. So, we don't really know if Trey's going to be, week 3 starter all the way to the end of the year or not. So, especially if we can't get Levi, it'd be nice to get 1 or 2 solid veteran corners or guys that already proved themselves. And I know you mentioned the price tag with Douglas, but like I said, I'm on the hope of people want to play for Josh Allen, and they see what Buffalo's doing, and they might take a little bit less money, or like you said, they being converts money this way, and they get money this other way. So I mean, I'd love to have Douglas. I mean, that'd be amazing in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's the biggest one of the guys that we could get, in terms of size. That's the one thing that I was really looking for is size with different guys. And I had another sleeper, but I don't think we're going to get him, is the Carolina connection that we always do with it's Dante Jackson. But I just don't think we're going to get him. But same size as Douglas, too.
Yeah, I love a big corner.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Biggest thing for me. How do you feel, Tony, about that?
Yeah, no, either one. I really like Rasul Douglas, or even like Xavier Rhodes is a free agent as well, and he's that big, lengthy corner as well. His arms are just huge. I think any of those guys, they'll fit the price range for us and stuff like that. One guy who I would love to see the Bills go after, if he comes back this year, I'm not entirely sure if he is, but I know he's a free agent. Patrick Peterson for the Vikings last year. He'd be a little more expensive, but Sean McDermott traditionally has liked to bring in that veteran presence, and stuff like that. One of the guys who like Josh Norman a couple of years ago and stuff like that, like get him on a cheap 1-year deal or something like that, and like get him to be that number 3 CB, like maybe fight with Dane Jackson and stuff like that. That would be something that I think would be really cool. But yeah, I would love if Rasul Douglas and Dante Jackson came back, or Xavier Rhodes, or even, I wish we could get J.C. Jackson, man. But
yeah, that'd be something.
Away. $20 million a year, it looks like, for him.
Yeah, I mean, I love Josh Norman too. When you mentioned him, like, I thought he was good for us, and yeah, he's a little bit too aggressive and gets beat a lot, but he has that attitude that you want in a D-back. So, I mean, I enjoyed him, but I mean, he's a 49er now, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking for more of guys that, weren't towards the end of their career. We could have them for a couple of years, maybe be the bridge gap to the next guy that we get, if we get him in the draft or something like that. So I was looking at guys for, the 1-2 year deals. Patrick Peterson intrigued me, but I also felt like he was kind of on the decline, especially when he came to Minnesota. So that's why I didn't go after Patrick Peterson. And I thought, he might re-sign in Minnesota, come off of another year. He had the calf strain. He had the hamstring injury as well. That's what really scared me with Patrick Peterson. So I was looking for more guys that have been healthy and have also, contributed to their teams. So that's the 2 biggest things that played a factor to me. And also I was looking for guys that fit that zone coverage scheme. I felt like Patrick Peterson was more of the man coverage guy. So I was trying to look for that zone coverage guys. But these are the guys that I felt like were the best ones for us.
We all have some pretty great picks. We'll see if we get any of them are right. We'll see.
Yeah, I do feel like we're gonna use an early pick on a corner. Hopefully, I want it to be 25. I'm really hoping that we get that pick. But I know you guys are shooting for like an offensive lineman. I hope. I can't think of the guy. The guy from Iowa, the center. I hope we get him. I really like him. Yeah, I really hope we get him. He's one of the guys that I'd really like to get. If we came down to like the 3 picks that I would have is Jordan Davis, Linderbaum, and then a corner, I would probably go with the offensive lineman just because I really like him. But I would love to see a 25 we get a corner.
Tony, you think Sauce Gardner's going to stay make it a 25, or you think he's gone?
That man's going top 15 for sure. I think the best corner we could get would probably be Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson, which I'm super high on. So I'm coming out with my top 100 board in like this week on Instagram, and I actually have him as my number 2 corner, with Sauce Gardner being 1, which means Derek Stingley I have as number 3. And so I honestly think if we're getting a corner, Andrew Booth, maybe Roger Curry, but he has really short arms, so we might have to play inside. Yeah, maybe Kyler Gordon from Washington, Trent McDuffie also from Washington. Like, yeah, there's some really good value in this corner class. And I was doing some research the other day, and I think going corner in the draft in the first round of the draft is the best scenario in my opinion for the Bills because of the fact that it's really top heavy, but towards the end after round 3 or something like that, it gets really it's pretty thin. And so if we go corner first round, D line, like interior D line, maybe Travis Jones from UConn, round 2, and then like receiver round 3 or something like that. I think that would be the perfect draft. But yeah, we definitely need to do a video on the draft in a week.
Yeah,
or so.
I'm excited for that. I gotta get. That's the thing I want to improve on because I never watched college football until like this year. So
should we each soon, maybe like after free agency, the big free agency moves, do a mock draft? Like each of us do a mock draft, talk about who we think we're going to get. I really like that idea of doing, 3 mock drafts. Go through the whole thing. You can do the simulators on like PFF or something like that. Go through the simulator, say who we got. I know we do it in the chat. We're like, oh, how do you feel about this one? How do you feel about that one? Like I've messed around with it a lot. I do the same thing that you do, and I'm like, oh, let's rig it to that. Like, everybody gets the worst picks, and then we just get the best ones. But
yeah, that'd be fun. We'll do that for sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea for the next one. I do agree with you. I think that it's really thin at corner, but I also feel like there's going to be people that are going to fall to 57 for us. So, I mean, if we do go like an offensive line or defensive lineman at 25, I'm okay with waiting until 57 to get a corner. And we can always trade up too.
Weren't we 57 last year? I feel like though, isn't that when we got Epinesa?
I think we were around there.
We didn't have a first round pick, so he was 57.
Yeah, I think we were around there.
Well, that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
So 57. That's funny. 57 again.
57. Plays with 57, so yeah. 57.
Do you think that's why he picked it?
I think it is, maybe. I mean,
I bet, yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I love Epinesa.
Yeah.
I hope he breaks out this year.
I hope he does too. So let's go back to free agency options for the Bills. I know that I can't remember who it was. Did you see who it was that made the comment on Instagram?
Oh, for the quarterbacks, Tone?
Yeah.
Yeah, Edward something. That's all I can remember. My bad, man.
I was trying to see who it was.
He DM'd me on my account. So.
Oh, he DM'd you on your account? Okay. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I didn't see it in the comments. Like, I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. But
yeah.
So I'll start it off. I know we kind of discussed it beforehand because we wanted to make sure we didn't choose the same guys. But we'll pick one guy that we would really like to see as a backup quarterback because we think that Mitch Trubisky is probably going to leave. He has opportunities to be a starter. There's a couple of places that he could go. We talked about, going to Pittsburgh. We talked about where he could go. There's a few options for him. The one guy that I'd really like to see be the backup that I think Buffalo, like everybody in Buffalo would love, is Ryan Fitzpatrick coming back, especially after that playoff game. Just make it the 1-year comeback trail. Just have him retire a Bill. That's the best thing that could possibly happen for the city because in a time when we didn't have a lot of hope for the Bills, and we had Fred Jackson, we had Kyle Williams, we had those different guys that really stepped up and were leaders and gave us a little bit of hope. Stevie Johnson as well. I feel like Fitzpatrick embraced Buffalo maybe the second or third most besides Fred Jackson and Kyle Williams, but I think that he's the one that of any guy that's still playing in the league, he's the one that I would really like to see in Buffalo because he would embrace it so much. And I think that he would be a really good backup quarterback for Josh Allen. And I think, if something did happen to Josh, which I pray to God it doesn't happen ever, because, he's a little bit of a crazy quarterback when it comes to running and doing, crazy things, jumping over defenders and stuff like that. He's done it a couple times now. I have one picture on my wall of him jumping over the Kansas City defender and I got the one of Anthony Barr on my wall as well, which makes me happy. I'm glad he did it, but it also scares the heck out of you. So I feel like Ryan Fitzpatrick coming back to Buffalo and making it, the final year of his career, and sitting behind a good quarterback, and maybe we get him a Super Bowl. That'd be the best thing that could possibly happen. He retires a Bill and ends it like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. That'd be awesome. Man, I wish that happened so much. We'll see. And the fact that that man was at the Bills playoff game, like a starting quarterback for another team, was going crazy with Bills Mafia. Like the city of Buffalo just loves him. Now, like, can he actually be a Super Bowl backup after his injury and stuff like that? That's a question. But the guy I have is similar for similar reasons, just because like I think he's near and dear to Buffalo's heart. That's Andy Dalton, because that man is the reason we broke the playoff drought. And like Bills fans donated like hundreds of thousands of dollars to his charity and stuff like that afterwards, and like he has a lot of fun interactions with Bills Mafia and stuff like that. So getting him to Buffalo, I think would be awesome. He's a very serviceable backup. He's not going to go out there and win your Super Bowl, but he'll come in and God forbid Josh Allen gets hurt, but like he has to come in for like 4 games. He can win 2, he can maybe win 3. Like with the roster around us and stuff like that, I think he'd be a good cheap option if another team doesn't want him to be the starter. Then yeah, so I think he would be really good to plug into the system. I think he's a good locker room guy, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But him, or like get a Tyrod Taylor back again would be awesome. But or like Teddy Bridgewater would be cool. But yeah, I'm going with Andy Dalton though on this one. But
that's a good pick. I like Andy Dalton. I think the Red Rifle, bringing a little bit of the Red Rifle to Buffalo, it'd just be cool. But I'm gonna say something. It's gonna come off wrong, but I have my fiance over here too. So when you look at a backup quarterback, sometimes like you've looked at the trends that we've had in Buffalo, and the girlfriends of the backup quarterbacks for Buffalo have been some of the best ones that we could possibly have. Like you had A.J. McCarron. Now you have Mitch Trubisky, Jake Fromm. All these different guys that come in. They have some of the best girlfriends. So maybe we should look into that a little bit more too. I didn't factor that in, but I know Shawn has a really good pick here that you'd like to say. So
yeah, I mean, I think Marcus Mariota is a good option because they only use him in Oakland and Las Vegas to run the ball and to do run options. And just like Mitch Trubisky, I mean, Mitch can throw the ball better than Marcus Mariota, but Mitch was a guy that we were like, oh, if Allen's hurt or whatever, Mitch can run the ball. He even got a rushing touchdown in the game I went to. He can pass pretty good, and he's a threat on the ground, which is part of Josh Allen too. He's not as good, obviously, on the ground as Josh Allen, but when a quarterback can do both, when you're focused on 2 things, and where for example, Mac Jones, he's only can do. He will run the ball if he has to, but you're not thinking about it, every snap. He's only going to run the ball if he's stuck. But you never know what's going to happen with Marcus Mariota, and he wasn't a bad thrower of the football either. But I think it'd be cool to have someone like him, just because it kind of fits in that mobile quarterback role. And again, we don't know. We could bring in Saquon too, and then you run options with him and Saquon or him and Motor. And you never know. Give Allen a break a couple. I still want Allen to run the ball. But maybe you could bring in Mariota for a couple of plays when Allen's healthy. Give Allen a break. Because he's running. You got to think about it. He gets like 10 or 12 carries a game, and he's throwing the ball 30 times. He could be gassed. Give him a break. Bring Mariota in. Do a screen pass. Do whatever. Give Mariota a run at the ball, and then maybe that could help us too, like it helped Las Vegas.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine just text me. He was watching it earlier, and he said Trace McSorley from the Ravens. He really likes him coming to Buffalo. He's not even a Bills fan, but he's a Dolphins fan. But he said Trace McSorley just because he knows him so well. He thinks that he would be a good backup for Buffalo.
Yeah,
so that could be an option.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was there anything I was going to say? This is kind of free game now. I know there's a lot that we could talk about. Is there anything that you guys would like to talk about now? Jump on board. I know it's only about an hour in. Anything you want to add on?
I would take Gronk for cheap.
Okay.
No
Think
problem.
about it. Think about it. Think about it. He's one of the best, if not the best, blocking tight ends ever. You could run double tight ends with him and Knox. And, Knox is still going to be tight end 1. But you bring Gronk in there to block. He can always chip that defensive end, which, Knox didn't really do too much, which is okay. But you bring Gronk in as a fullback sometimes. He's also, reliable catching the football. A seam guy. He could find the holes in the zone. And imagine someone like him teaching Knox. You know what I mean? Not that Knox isn't great, but having one of the greatest tight ends on your team for a year, teaching you, this is what I do. This is what I figured out. And then, even though he hit Trey White in the back of the head, and that was dirty and uncalled for and scummy, he grew up a Bills fan. He was from Buffalo. Why wouldn't, maybe he'd want to finish his last, season of football. And he might not even play. He might retire because Brady's not around and he's not going to play for the Patriots again. So who knows? But I think it'd be cool because if you really think about it, 1 year he was still playing at a high level last year. And then, teaching Knox and then another reliable pass catcher. You can run double tight ends, which we can do with Sweeney, but Sweeney's not – you can even help Sweeney too learn. Because then when Gronk's gone next year, you got Knox and Sweeney takes another step up. I just think that'd be – I wouldn't be in love with the guy, because he was a Patriot for so long, and what he did to Trey, but I think he definitely could help our team get to where we want to get to.
Yeah. I think
Tony, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
You go for it.
All right, man. All right. I'm going to say why I don't want Gronkowski here. The biggest thing that bothered me was the Trey White situation. That really ticked me off. Like, as soon as I saw it, I'm going, okay, you could end the career of Trey. Like, it was his rookie year when that happened. Can you imagine, that happening and he doesn't play for us? And now look at where we've been. We've had so many good years, and now we lose our all-pro corner just because of the stupid play that you're pissed off because there's a little bit of pushing that was going on, but both of you were pushing. Yes, it should have been called for pass interference. Probably it should have. But it was mutual push, in my opinion.
And they were up by 30 too, I think.
Yeah,
also.
Yeah, you're not going to call that at the end of the game. It's you're pissed off. I get it. You're losing to the Bills, which rarely ever happens. You're supposed to win every single time in playoffs. Brady had a 30-3 record against us, or 33-3 record, something like that. So it was the one time that you lose. But to be a little crybaby in front of your hometown, that's what embarrasses me. And I don't feel like he's the type of character that comes to Buffalo and represents the Bills Mafia the way that we really should be represented. So I don't like it. I think it would be a bad thing. But I'd like to see us spend that money on somewhere else because he's going to command like $8-9 million. Maybe he takes a little bit of a discount, but I highly doubt it.
Right. No, I'm saying that if he takes the vet minimum or $1 million deal for 1 year, but if he wants anything more than like $1 or $2 million, then no. But if you get someone like him that for cheap, then again, I don't agree with what he did. I don't like him for what he did, but there's a lot of players out there in the NFL that did a hell of a lot worse than he did, and they're still playing football. But I think I'm just thinking of the aspect of how can he benefit our football team. Again, I wouldn't be like, oh, he's my favorite player ever. I still think about the Trey incident, but I'm thinking about a Super Bowl, so I think he for sure could help. If again, not only that, not who's Knox learning from right now himself really, and he's still young. He barely I think he caught like 3 passes in college. You know what I mean? So he's still got a lot of growth to do, and that's an amazing feeling because he was fantastic last year. So I'm just thinking of it as like a development for the Sweeney and Knox, who also could be really good. I mean, Knox is already really good, but Sweeney as well. And then just be another guy. But, I mean, if it was between him and Saquon, I would take Saquon. I said this a long time ago, and then now it's like a huge thing that everyone wants Saquon. I'm like, yeah, I think we should get him.
I think a good veteran tight end to get instead of Gronk. Like, if we do go Gronk, sure, great. Like, he's the type of player who wins Super Bowls, you know, and like Buffalo wants to win a Super Bowl. But I think a really good like backup veteran tight end would be Kyle Rudolph. Free agent. Like, I think he would be very good. He's a great blocking tight end, you know, and like solid pass catcher. He's not very good after the run, but like, you know, what 30-plus-year-old tight end do. So yeah, but I think he would be a good serviceable cheap option at that as well. But you know, if we get Gronk, like I think it would be a great punch to the face to Patriots fans to have him.
Oh yeah, that too.
That would be fun.
And then Brady comes out of retirement and then coaches. He's a new quarterback coach for Buffalo. New England will be like, "What are you doing? Why would you do that?"
Yeah, Buffalo's the retirement home for players.
That'd be hilarious. So, but I mean, is Rudolph is requesting a trade, right?
I think he's a free agent.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I saw something that he was like talking about going somewhere else, but I wasn't sure if he was trading or requesting a trade or not. But I always liked him. I think he's really good. Or you know, Evan Ingram's not like one of those vet guys that you'll be like, oh, he can teach a lot of stuff. But I always liked Evan Ingram too. But you know, Daniel Jones is your quarterback, so I mean, who knows? He might be. I mean, I don't know if he's available, but I like Ingram.
Yep.
You're still muted, Brett.
I keep forgetting that. I think the biggest thing that you can see with bringing in Gronkowski and everything is you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit. The Bills, the only time that they had 3 tight ends on their roster was the first year that McDermott was the coach. So are you going to keep Gronkowski and Knox and lose Tommy Sweeney, which I think Tommy Sweeney is a little bit of an underrated player. I know he's been injured the past couple of years, but I really like the upside with Sweeney. I wouldn't want to lose him just to get a year of Gronk. So that's another thing that really plays a factor in me. But, you know, aside from the Trey White thing, I mean, bringing him in for a veteran minimum deal, if Buffalo did, I'd be okay with it just because, you know, 2 tight ends I really like. You know, it could be another option for the offense, and we really do need some help at receiver, especially with potentially losing Cole Beasley. That would be the best thing that we could possibly have is a big tight end in the middle of the field that could be a threat, especially in the red zone. But I just don't see it happening. I think that it's more of the, you know, the talk around the league and, you know, you hear about it and he goes somewhere else. Or I honestly believe that Tom Brady is not done. I've always said it from the beginning. I said Tom Brady's not done. He's coming back for another year. The way it sounds like, I mean, when he's talking, it still seems like he's coming back for another year. And I really don't believe that Tampa is thinking of having Blaine Gabbert or Ryan Griffin as their starting quarterback. I don't think that that's an option. Or I think it's Alex Trask, who's the other guy that they're saying. I don't think that's happening. I don't think they're looking at the trade market. I think Tom Brady's coming back, and you're going to see it happen right after free agency.
Yeah, I said that too. I'm like, he's going to say he's retired, so they leave him alone for the offseason. And then as soon as before training camp starts, he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to play.
Yeah, I really do believe he's coming back. Just based off of the sourness that he probably had, I think he's coming back because I think he wants to retire with a Super Bowl win. You know, make it an 8 count. Yeah,
No,
make it a
7's enough.
Yeah, no, make it an 8 count of nuggets from you know, Wendy's and everything. Go out
because that's what he's thinking of.
Yeah, he's thinking about that. He is. He's thinking about that.
He could get his 8th ring as a quarterback coach for the Buffalo Bills.
No, he's gonna go out with 10.
Would you want that?
With 10?
No.
You wouldn't want Brady to be the quarterback coach of the Buffalo Bills?
Absolutely not. Nope.
I mean, we already got a Brady as a quarterback coach though, so it's not really.
He doesn't
Much
even
different.
play like Josh Allen does. So like,
No.
I would just love hearing all my Patriot fans, friends that are Patriot fans, just complain forever that Gronk went over, and then Brady's a quarterback coach, and he's going to train the new GOAT.
Yeah.
The new
Okay,
GOAT at being quarterback.
What if this happens? This
What
is
if
my
what-
buddy. This is my buddy. This is the one that put it on there. I'm gonna put it on here just so that everybody can see it. My buddy says, "Yo, dude, would you be able to make a 10:30 showing of the Batman movie?"
I watched
try.
the movie this weekend.
He's watching
It's
right
so
now.
good. It's so good. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. He's probably hoping I can. It's 9:10 right now, so I think we're gonna be able to do it. It depends on where we go. So, I'll hit you up as soon as I'm done on here.
You definitely should go.
Yeah, I definitely would like to go. I still gotta eat. I had Panera come to the house, and it was supposed to be here at like 7:30, and it got here at exactly 8:00. So I was not happy with that. So Panera, you're on my do not like list right now because I ordered it on DoorDash, and it's only like 5 minutes away from my house. So you really took me off.
You could have just drove,
I could have just drove. Yeah, I could have drove. I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready for the podcast and everything, and I missed it. I'm like, I almost said to you guys, like, hey, do you mind doing it at 8:15 so I can eat real quick? But I'm like, nah, it's already. I wasn't sure how long.
We could have done that. No big deal.
Nah. But Emma from DoorDash, you really pissed me off.
Thanks, dollar for dollar or less food.
This is my buddy, Dollar or Less Food. He has a podcast where he goes to different places and he tries like different foods for under $1. And one of the things that he just tried last time was I don't know if you guys have it up there, but the Wendy's strawberry frosty.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, they just came out with a Wendy's strawberry frosty, and it is the best thing. It's for the Florida Strawberry Festival, and it is by far the best frosty I've ever had. I know people like strawberry, or they like chocolate and they like vanilla, but Wendy's strawberry frosties are by far the best.
Can you dip your fries in it though?
I haven't done it though, but I really want to. Every time I go to Wendy's down here, there's always cold fries, so it's disgusting.
Really? But they advertise the hot fries.
Yeah, I've always advertised hot fries, but it's disgusting.
Yeah,
every single time.
I like hot fries cold or whatever, but
yeah.
Oh man, it's ready for football to start.
I know. I'm so ready for this to happen. I think this is the best thing that this is the best time of the year for us. Because now
I just hope for the last couple of years we have a theme with drafting. We waste a lot of picks, and the first and second round picks don't play.
Yeah.
So I'm really sick of that. I mean, luckily they let Group, have the opportunity to start, which I was surprised that I was like, oh, they'll probably sit them like they did at Panessa. But then, like I always said, not just practicing doesn't develop you. Playing the in-game reps at a pro level is going to develop you. So when Boogie Basham plays like 20% of the year and he gets second in the team in sacks, that should say something to them. And they didn't even give him playing time. And
right.
We drafted Fromm 5th round waste. Last year we had our 6th and 7th round pick get taken off the practice squad waste. So it's like we got to get these players picked, and the valuable ones hopefully get playing time and they can develop. Because Epinesa took a step back because he didn't get to play that much.
Right.
They dropped his weight, and then he didn't play it hardly at all, and then now he's trying to play 60 pounds lighter, basically.
Right. I think the biggest thing with that is, you talk about getting these guys into Buffalo, and we have a lot of depth, especially at defensive line. I mean, you had, Efe Obata, you have Jerry Hughes, who is supposed to get about 50, 60% of the snaps. You have Addison, who's supposed to get maybe 40 to 50% of the snaps. And then you have guys like, AJ Epinesa, and you have Boogie Basham and Russo. So I felt like we were like one too many at defensive end we couldn't have this really good rotation that we were supposed to have. So, credit to Brandon Beam for finding all these different players, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
so,
I think it can. I think it can work out, but you got to have the exact right pieces,
right?
And you got to give your younger guys that you want to develop, like first, second, and third round picks should be starting, in my opinion,
right?
Or at least playing significant amount of snaps,
right?
Not sitting the bench and starting 3 games a year and then always being inactive for no reason.
Well, another thing that I was thinking of is you have essentially 6 really good, not really good, but 6 decent defensive ends. Why not use one in the interior? Why not have like an Epinesa or somebody like that come in the middle and take away what Starr was doing, because Starr really didn't do anything last year. I understand that he's more of the take on 2 offensive linemen in the middle of the field, and so that Ed Oliver could get in there. But why not do that? At least have a Boogie Basham go into the middle as well. Just to stop the run. I thought that was something that we should have done.
That's the thing, though. Boogie was good at going and he could do tackle and end, and Epinesa would have been able to do that, but they made him drop from 285 to 250.
Right.
And I mean, granted, Epinesa does get off the ball fast. They timed it and everything too. He's officially the quickest to get off the ball in the league, but still, like, that only does so much. He's just so thin now. He's 6'7", 250. That's basically being 6 foot tall and 150.
Right.
Just a big, he's tough and strong, but he's just thin and lanky now. Whereas he was bulky and huge at 285, and he was still getting to the quarterback fast. And you see how hard he hits now? Imagine if he had 30 pounds on him. And to be honest, I get, you want him to lose a little bit of weight. He could have been 270 and still been a monster. It's still been quick. Like, losing 15 pounds, you still get a little bit quicker. And you could have used him on the inside too. But, I hope, because that's the other thing. He's going to year 3 now. Soon you guys said, do we want to sign him again? Well, he hasn't got to prove himself. He's, he had a couple great games last year, but he sat out his whole rookie year, basically. He has to play with different weight. I just don't like that, because it stinks because you don't get the proper evaluation of your pick.
Right.
If you sit out basically a whole year. But hopefully this year it's different. Our first two picks play significant snap counts that we're starting, because that's what it's for. If you're not going to start your first round pick, trade it for someone else. Trade it for a player that you'll start.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you wasted that 5th round pick on Jake Fromm, and then he's gone. Like,
well, like I said,
you could have got a lineman that year. And I know we talked about it, but like, when you look at it now, you're just like, really? Like, you could have got a good offensive guard in the 5th round or anything else. But yeah, he was a COVID quarterback, and it helped. And New England didn't get him or anything like that. I get it, but I just thought it was a waste.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I get it, but I also have to say credit to the Bills, because at least the word around the league is that we're drafting really good, and we have a really complete team, which makes me happy. I mean, I'm glad that guys that are on the fringe of being on the roster are getting picked up and they're going places. I'm happy with that, but I'd like them to go to Buffalo and be there and contribute to this team. So that upsets me, but I'm also glad that they're getting a chance around the league. I'd like to see, I wish that Bobby Hart would have gotten picked up by any other team, and I wish that they said, hey, that's the best draft pick that we ever had, or that's the best free agency signing that we've ever had. Which I would have prayed for that. I was praying all year. I'm like, God, this guy is just like, I don't know if it's the playbook or what. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's still learning, as he's going, and he was a late addition to training camp. But, it just seemed like he was out of tune every single time he was playing.
Yeah, I know. He'll be back.
He'll be back. Oh yeah.
He's good enough to be back, but not good enough to play.
He was I think a 4 or 5 year starter in Cincinnati. He was the right tackle for them. Which when we got him, I'm like, okay. We got a right tackle. I mean, that was one of the areas that we struggled with before Darrell Williams came in. So I'm like, it's a good thing because before we had like Jordan Mills and we had all these other guys that were no names that we brought in and they're a right tackle, and that was the area that I felt like the Bills were really struggling with before. Then we get Darrell Williams and we re-sign him. I'm going, okay, are we going to try and kick Darrell Williams inside again, and we're going to see how that experiment goes? Because that's not going to work.
I was so tired of that because he was absolutely great at tackle, and then they move him to guard and tackle. So you can't keep doing that. So I hope Cromer puts an end to all that crap, and Darrell Williams has to go. He has to go. If I like him and all, but too wishy-washy for a Super Bowl team. You can't be fantastic one year and then garbage next year.
So I have an idea of what Buffalo could do, and this is a hypothetical. You get Darrell Williams to take a pay cut, and you make him the left guard. Okay? That's the best thing that could possibly happen because you need a swing guard. What better than a former left tackle? He was a left tackle in Carolina 2 years ago. He also played right tackle. You can have him as the swing guard. It's pretty much a 3-tackle offensive line for Cromer. So put him inside, put him there. You're probably going to release Mitch Morse at that point. You get Linderbaum at 25. And then, I'm still not sure what we're going to do at right guard, which kind of worries me too. Yeah. But maybe you get somebody, a decent right guard. You draft somebody late, or you have Felicia. I think Felicia Allen might take a pay cut too. That's the best line that you could possibly have right there.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, Morris he's getting up there, but he's only 29, 28. So I mean, it's a little bit old for an old lineman, but he's still got years left. And I mean, if you draft Lindenbaum, he could probably play guard too. I mean, didn't Eric Wood play guard and center before he played? Didn't he play guard before he played center, or center before he played guard? So I mean, even though you draft him just like Cody Ford, we drafted him as a right tackle. He did good at a right tackle, and they put him at guard, and he wasn't good. So I mean, you might be able to do that because, Morris is also one of the smartest centers in the league. So another thing, you draft Linderbaum, and then, Morris plays 2 more years, and then you learn center from Morris. You're the backup center. You're playing right guard, but you're the backup center still. So you're still playing your position. And then when Morris is done playing football, whenever that is, then you move over to center.
Well, the biggest thing with Morris is if you cut him, you're going to save about $8 million. So I'm thinking of the cap space. I understand tweaking the offensive line and moving him, and he's really good for Josh Allen. But getting some cap room, especially because we're $2 million over the cap, would be the best thing for us. And releasing Cole Beasley saves $6 million. Getting rid of Mitch Morse saves $8 million. You get rid of AJ Klein, that's another $5 million. And then now you're getting into the range where maybe you can get a really good corner. You can get somewhere else, a good receiver. So I think that you have to sacrifice a little bit.
Oh yeah, but the whole line, I would release Mitch Morse last, just because that type of center is just so hard to come by. And yeah, Creed Humphrey was rated good, but reading defenses and calling out audibles, that's all the center. All the shifting on the line is all the center. So to rely on a rookie when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, it's so. I mean, he's still probably very smart, but to have that experience, I'd rather get rid of Williams, get rid of Beasley, because Morris is just too important in my opinion. And $8 million, you can get that anywhere really. You could convert Allen's contract to something else, like the signing bonus, like they did with Diggs. we save what 12 mil by converting half his salary, quarter of his salary into a signing bonus or something. So I mean, there's ways, but I would love to keep Morris. But I mean, like you said, it could happen. He's a cut candidate because he's got money, but
I think he's more of a restructure or potentially a guy that signs a contract extension worth a little bit of money so that we can get that salary cap a little lower.
That's the other thing. There's a lot of people that will just restructure their contracts just because they don't want to play anywhere else and they like what they're at. And that's the thing. Some of them, they value winning more than a couple mil. So they, yeah, it's okay. But I mean, that's what that's what I always think. That's just the crappy part because you could lose a lot of good people that you like.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, look at Amari Cooper. I bet Cowboys fans are just absolutely gutted about it because he was your franchise receiver. You paid him so much money. He did so much for your franchise and your team. Literally goes on an interview saying like his heart beats for Dallas and being a Cowboy, and he can't see himself playing anywhere else. And then they release him. So,
yeah,
I mean,
what Jerry Jones said about him was that really kind of set it all off. I mean, when he said that he's only an outside receiver and he needs to be able to work the middle of the field, that kind of set him off. So I was kind of thinking, okay, what teams need an outside wide receiver? I'm thinking, okay, well, Gabe Davis really stepped up this year. He played really good. But can you imagine a Diggs and Cooper matchup?
Yeah,
just imagine
true,
that.
But Cooper's like 20+ mil a year.
I don't think he's going to command that much. I really don't. I think he signed a 5-year, $20 million contract. Or I'm sorry, 5-year, $100 million contract, so $20 million a year. But I also think that he's going to take a little bit less because he wasn't as productive last year. So I really believe that he's going to be around like maybe the $13-14 million range.
Yeah, maybe.
But
yeah, that'd be crazy. But I mean, just imagine how obviously I think Diggs is better than Cooper, but imagine like just us one day just releasing Diggs for 16 mil. You know what I mean? That's just like I couldn't imagine being a fan after that happened.
I'd still be a fan, but I mean, I'd be.
No, I mean like being a fan in the sense of that happens and you're just sitting there like, what? Why? Like, where did that come from? Why'd you do that?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was like, I think it was 2008 when we had Terrell Owens for the 1 year. Like, I was begging Buffalo. I'm like, please. I even sent a letter into the GM at the time. I'm like, I can't remember who it was. I think it wasn't Doug Whaley. It was like one of the GMs. I sent a letter into him. I'm like, please re-sign Terrell Owens. Like, I know that all the crap that goes on with him, but he fit Buffalo the best, and he embraced Buffalo. And how do you get a key to the city? Your first year of playing in Buffalo.
He still loves it. He was one of those the players they brought back for the beginning of the game.
Right. Yeah, he got it. I mean, I couldn't believe that he got a key to the city for that. For just 1 year. I mean, he signs a $6.5 million contract. And then he almost has 1,000 yards in Buffalo. Like, and he's towards the end of his career. Yeah. He played 2 more years with Cincinnati after that. And I'm going, okay, just re-sign him for 1 more year, please. Because we really have something going. I mean, you had Fitzpatrick, you had Spiller, I think at the time we still had Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. We had all these different guys, and I'm going, please just keep him for 1 more year. And we also had, at that point, Stevie Johnson.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, can you imagine 1 or 2 more years with Stevie Johnson, and you have Terrell Owens?
Yeah, I love T.O. And like I thought it was funny how much he loved Buffalo too. He still talks about it, how like of any team we deserve a championship.
Yeah.
He loves the city too.
But I'd love to ask him one question. Does he like ranch with his wings or no?
Oh.
Because I've heard he likes ranch with his wings. I have heard that.
Maybe.
But I heard that's a little secret about Terrell Owens is he likes ranch with his wings. So I gotta ask him. I might DM him and ask him now. Just to see See if he
That'd
answers.
be cool if he answers.
Oh my god, if he answers and he goes, hell no.
Yeah.
I pray he says no, because I mean it's blue cheese all the way.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Alrighty, man. I think we should probably wrap up soon.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, that was a great show. I know
Next.
Tony got kicked off. I don't know what happened there, but the show had to keep going on. But it's been a great show. I felt like, you know, we're going to have a lot of fun the next couple of weeks with free agency. You know, I think it starts on the 12th. I mean, it's the 12th? No, the 13th it starts. Monday the 13th, but illegal tampering is the 10th, I believe. Something like it's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So
a lot of moves. We'll see. We'll see if
moves.
we got.
We'll see.
We'll see if we're right about any of them.
Yeah, and for those who were watching, I mean, give you your pick. Who do you think Buffalo is going to get? Is it going to be somebody big like a Devontae Adams or a Chris Godwin, or do we stay put and maybe we get some lower guys like an OJ Howard or somebody like that? Let us know in the comments below. This is the Go Bills podcast. I'm Brett from Go Bills Podcast. And Shawn, you can tell everybody where we can find you at.
Find me at Red, White, and Bills on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You know, check out my previous content. You can start from the first video if you want to, but check out my videos if you like it. Give me a subscribe, hit that like button on all the videos, comment, share it out. You know, I haven't had a full year yet technically because I started in week 3. So week 3 next year will be a year of doing games rather. But I love every step of the way of this. You know, I met a lot of good people, aka, you know, Tony and Brett and many others that I do shows with. And we enjoy making you guys enjoy our show. Well, not making you enjoy the show, but having you enjoy the show and putting up your opinions and talking points. And anytime you want us to talk about something specific, shoot one of us a DM and let us know.
Yeah, man. It was great having you on the show, Tony, as well. You know, it's been fantastic for us. I think this is going into I want to say it's year 3 for me. So, I mean, I started in like October of 2019. So it'll be, you know, right around the year 3 for me. But yeah. I started off slow. I just started on the Instagram trends and everything, just doing that. And then this was my first year going on lives. And, you know, the only person that really motivated me to do it besides my fiance was you. I mean, it was you and another Shawn. So both of you guys.
Yeah, man, of course.
Yeah, you guys really helped me get this started. So I appreciate you, man. You've done a fantastic job. And I love all the content that you have on your page. I've noticed that you're getting really good with the thumbnails on YouTube. So I might have to talk to you about that. I mean, you're doing a really good job of that. And I hope that we can get you involved in the draft and get that going, and we'll create some mock drafts and have them come out on our pages.
Absolutely. That'll be a good time. That's what's next. Some draft.
That's what's next, man. So, all right, this is the Go Bills podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for coming on, Shawn.
Anytime. Thank you.